Record. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Managers Weekly Recap podcast. I've got a guest this week, Matthew Bell, of course, the current champion and current leader in our standings. On this week, Matthew, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great. I'm just happy I was able to eke out a win this week.
Perfect. Yeah, close matchup with you and Ryan there.
Yeah, Ryan
Rank.
kind of got brutally trolled by some pitching injuries. It really would have been close. I mean, honestly, he probably would have won given how my starts went on Sunday if that hadn't happened. But I don't know.
Mhm.
Everything's
I
all right in
heard
Otani land, I guess.
some canceled games as well. Rasmussen's start got moved. Unlucky stuff for
Yeah,
Ryan.
no, that ended up working out really well for me because it pushed Peyton Toll's start to Sunday. I mean, he did kind of not do very well, but you know, Sunday starts are Sunday starts.
Absolutely. Well, I think, honestly, the lead this week is Sam's team. I mean, they killed it this week, 378.5 points. That's our top lead. Our top players were Christopher Sanchez on Will and Kyle's team, Davis Martin with them as well, and then Erod. So some weird pitchers getting a lot of points this week, Matthew.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, honestly, I have to say, at least as far as Erod is concerned, I think part of that is just the Mets. They looked absolutely putrid against him. I mean, that lineup is just it's desperate. There's
they're
there's like
they're
two players
struggling.
who I really think kind of have any sort of ability to hit right now, and you can just sort of pitch around them, and then you're good against that team.
Yeah,
Just sucks.
absolutely. They look just god awful, and for my own fantasy team's sake, I need them to not be. But it's
Yeah,
not looking good. I shouldn't have drafted so many Mets players. Their season is hurting my fantasy team. But let's go ahead and jump into matchup recaps. That's what we're going to do on today's show. We'll look at each matchup, talk about some players who maybe did some interesting things, and then we've got a drop, hold, and trade segment. I asked you guys to send me some players that you've got questions about, or whether you could drop, hold, or trade three individual players. And then Matthew and I each picked out some waiver wire pickups, free agents, and some prospects we're interested in. So let's
yeah.
jump right into it. I'll go over my matchup with Jack first. Of course, I already mentioned Erod as the top scorer, and if you just look at his savant page, it's nasty, man. Like Matthew said, he really just was able to dice up the Mets, real struggling offense, and
Yeah,
that was
he
just
looks
was
terrible though,
great.
I have to say. Erod does not look good. Do not get excited. This is not going to keep happening. He sucks. But
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at a Savant page. It's there's one half red bar, and that's his hard hit rate. The rest of it is just pretty terrible. Mainly the whiffs. That's what I look at. 9 percentile for the whiff rate. That's not. Yeah, that's not
I
gonna
mean,
continue to happen.
also it just, the hard hit rate almost doesn't make sense when you look at his fastball velo and extension and ground ball percent. It's kind of a miracle he hasn't given up more hard contact when he's throwing,
Hmm.
pitches that you would expect to be pretty easy to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on my side, I mean, I can go to the opposite end. Aces who are just totally struggling. A guy like Gary Perez got me 2 points. 5 innings pitched, took a really really bad loss. As well as Tyler Glass now on the injured list. Cole Reagans. I mean, he managed to get 10 points before going on the IL. But I mean, my pitching staff is in dire straits right now.
I
Uh,
know, yeah. Cole Reagans, I mean, he was a guy I was going to talk about in one of our later segments until he
mhm.
got hurt, but so you're kind of forced to hang on to him now. I mean, he's someone who I really was expecting to turn things around, and now that he's working through injuries again, I mean, he kind of had this brutal cycle last year where he was just getting hurt, coming back, making an okay start, like 4 innings because they were limiting the workload, and then just something else would happen the next week, and he just kept going on and off the injured list. So really, really, really hope he doesn't have to do that again because that would just suck for you a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Let's move on to Chris versus Will, one of our closer matchups this week. I mean, Will's team, the trades that Will and Kyle have made have really turned the place around. I mean, we've got all of our trade pieces ended up doing well. Trout actually did the worst this week with only 9 points, but both Michael Bush and Liam Hicks got over 20 points in this matchup. Now, on Chris's side, we've got normal guys scoring high. We got Logan Gilbert, Bobby Witt Jr., but then at third, we've got a guy who, kind of is flying under the radar right now, and that's Evan Carter. And if you look at his profile, it is really, really, really weird. He walks tons. He doesn't swing at pitches outside of the strike zone. But he swings and misses at pitches in the strike zone a ton. I think he is going to be a very streaky player moving forward. Whether he's going to be worth rostering is sort of a question, as he's kind of gone through a bit of a hot streak and some regression already. Matthew, have you looked at this guy at all?
Yeah,
Do you have any opinions on him?
a little bit. I was actually going to say, like, his page honestly reminds me of Kurtz's a little bit in the you know, plate discipline department. Really, really
Mm-hmm.
good about not chasing, really takes his walks, and then he's obviously doing better in the whiff and strikeout department than Kurtz is. But really, it seems like his thing is he just kind of doesn't have the power potential. His contact metrics really aren't great, and so he's just not really doing damage, even though he's getting himself into favorable positions. Because,
Yeah.
clearly pitchers don't have to be that scared of what he's going to do if he does find a pitch, but he's still walking a lot, which just means it just proves how good his plate discipline is, really.
Yeah, he's going to be useful in our league just because of that walk rate. But that bat speed at 70.9 miles per hour is not doing him any favors. And he's pulling the ball in the air, so he's going to hit some power. But if he did that more and maybe swung his bat a little bit faster, things could get really interesting from him. From a long term perspective. But certainly an interesting guy. All right.
Hmm.
Um, the premier matchup this week, Ryan versus Matthew. Matthew, like we already said, ended up running into a clutch win, maybe due to some circumstances, but also performance. I mean, Peyton Tolley came out and gave you 12 awesome innings and helped you get the W with 38 points. I mean, that's just a great pickup. And, I was jealous when you picked him up, as I'm sure a lot of people were. But what did you think? What were your feelings on this matchup, other than obviously the sort of
Yeah, the
unluckiness that
pitching
Ryan sort
stuff.
of ran into? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm honestly going to have to kind of give the credit to really all the waiver claims, like Toll, JJ Bleday, Foster Griffin, they combined for like basically a third or more of my points this week. Um, just kind of huge. I don't know what's up with JJ Bleday. That guy just came back and looks like a demon. He added like 3 miles an hour or more to his bat speed. He's been playing out of his mind, and then I really just think I've gotten lucky with Foster Griffin, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's like
He,
this good, but
yeah, looking at his Savant page, there's definitely some red flags. Obviously, um, he doesn't throw his fastball very hard. He gives me very Jake Irvin from last year vibes. Just a guy going on a run, get what you can from him, and you move on
yeah,
when things start to get nasty. But
yeah.
sometimes
I
that's
mean,
just what you got to do.
I do think there's a case for him being worth rostering genuinely, just because the pitching is so terrible on the wire.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, he's probably more like a 10 point, 12 point a start guy, not 16.6 where he's standing right now.
Yeah, another little cute note I wanted to point out. There were some guys that Ryan had that just didn't do very well. Will Warren mainly had a bad start, but his K minus walk rate is above 20%. It's actually, in fact, it's 24. Um, I think this is just unluckiness. His page looks a lot like Davis Martin, actually. The xERA estimate is like him. All he does is get lots of strikeouts and doesn't walk anybody. His contact metrics are awful. So I'm really curious what's going to happen with Will Warren, but he's a guy that if I was Ryan, I would try and hold on to despite the bad week.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, anyone with a high strikeout ceiling is probably going to be good in our league. I mean, really, probably the main thing working against him is just pitching in Yankee Stadium. That's just a really scary place to have to pitch.
yeah, absolutely.
Thankfully, most of the AL is so bad though that it's actually not that scary. But
Yeah.
the
Also,
Rays are out there.
Devers 6 for 18 in the matchup with 2 home runs is maybe he's starting to turn things around a bit. Who knows? But Matthew, why don't you go ahead and start talking about the matchups that I asked you to sort of review?
Yeah, sure. So we can start that off by talking about Oz versus Connor. Connor's team kind of dumpstered Oz. He had a really good week this week. I honestly thought Connor was going to take top scorer, but he maxed out his starts on Saturday since he had four of them going, kind of limited his points coming into Sunday. But
Mm-hmm.
really good performances for Connor from Michael Waka, James Wood. Honestly, Michael Waka, kind of a surprise, but also not really. I feel like he's a pitcher who's just been generally underrated for the past few years. He's always been a stable, like roughly 3.5 ERA guy, gets a decent amount of innings. Not a crazy amount of strikeouts, but he just, you know, good at what he does. He's got
Yeah.
pedestrian whiff and K stuff, but he's got a nice repertoire, a lot of pitches to, just make outs, which is good. That's
Hmm.
just what he's been doing for the past few years.
He's a guy
Then
who's
obvious,
he's got a game plan and he goes for it and he gets the
right,
job done most of the time.
right. I mean, also pitching with the Royals defense behind you is also a very big plus there.
Right.
Got a lot of great guys out in the field to, catch fly balls and make plays and not screw up. Yeah, but then on Oz's side, Nick Martinez continues to do well. He's honestly been kind of a pleasant surprise, I think. He's been pitching very well this season. Don't know how much I want to say I think that's sustainable for him. I think we're probably going to see some regression, but take what you can get as far as pitching goes this year. I do like he doesn't walk anybody. He's doing a great job of not giving up hard contact, but just having like no strikeout potential
Hmm.
is really, really does kind of hurt him for our league specifically.
Yeah. A little note I want to point out Ryan Nelson. This guy's hilarious. He's only got a good fastball. If he throws his fastball 60% of the time, he has a good start. That's it. That's the bottom line with him. If he stops doing that, he's gonna do bad.
Yeah, I mean, just poor Diamondbacks, man. That pitching staff is just
It's
it's just
brutal.
rough. Just rough. All right. Well, we'll move on to a really close matchup actually between my cousin Gray and Owen. I mean, wow, so close. I mean, Bryce Elder outscoring Jacob deGrom this week. That's just
Hmm.
kind of incredible, especially considering one of those starts came against the Dodgers.
One of these pitchers is the GOAT. I'll let you decide who.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that situation, though. DeGrom didn't exactly have it easy either. He had to pitch against the Yankees in Chicago this week. Still managed to get 40 points though, but he's just the GOAT, so that's how it is. But
Absolutely.
actually, another guy I wanted to talk about was Miguel Vargas on Gray's team. Might be one of the better drafts, honestly. 251st drafting him. He's been absolutely great, and he looks incredible this season.
Hmm.
I mean,
I
his
mean, this guy was
page,
just slept on by everyone.
yeah,
Uh,
he really was. He really
Former top
was.
prospect, just sort of dished away by the Dodgers because their team was so good to the worst team in the league. Everybody just forgot about him. And here
Yeah.
he is performing to the level that people might have expected 2 years ago if that didn't happen.
And
Um,
honestly, if anything, I think we might actually be able to expect some positive regression from him. He actually has a 221 BABIP right now, which for his contact metrics, I would say that's quite low. I think he could do even better.
yeah, his page looks beat red right now. Like
Yeah.
seriously scary. I wish I'd bought him a week ago when I asked Dre about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I mean, also giving the shout to PCA, Owen kind of had Bryce Elder PCA at the top of the scoreboard. Definitely not the names you expect.
Hmm. Another shout to Owen for being a PCA believer. I tried to buy PCA off of him and he did not sell. So good job holding the bag on that one, Owen. Helped get you the win this week.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And then the last one we've got features our highest scorer for this week, Sam versus Brooks. I mean, wow. Sam really put the hurt on him here, largely due to just Bryce Harper. I mean, Andy Pajes with that 3 home run game really, really put the hurt
10
on
for
Brooks.
24. I mean, that with 4 homers, that's devious, man. Out of
Yeah.
Andy Pajes, a guy who's just absolutely breaking out, it looks like this year.
Yeah. I mean, still there are still some things with him. The 375 BABIP down from the 500 mark it was at earlier. So I
Hmm.
think we're probably approaching maybe some representation of where he's going to be the rest of the way. But yeah, he's looking
He's,
like a great pickup, honestly. I think he'll
yeah,
still
and
be good.
like I think Pajes offensively will regress, but I don't think he's going to regress nearly as much fantasy wise, right? Because he's still going
Yeah.
to be racking up tons of runs, tons of RBIs because he's in the Dodgers lineup. He's
Yeah,
going to
I
be a
know.
very, very useful fantasy player because of that. More so than if he was playing for the White Sox like Miguel Vargas.
Yeah, I mean, I think for him, it's like what we've seen from him, he seems very similar to like Max Muncy to me, and like kind of streaky, where he'll just have these
Hmm.
big games, big performances with a lot of RBI from that Dodgers lineup when he hits, 2 home runs in a game. Um, and yeah, I mean that can just totally swing a week if if he lines up a hot streak for you.
All right. Well, that is going to conclude our matchup recap segment. But good job, everyone. Congrats to those who won, and good luck next week for those who lost. Now we're going to move on to our drop hold trade segment. So I asked you guys, I thought of this segment last week. I asked you guys to send me three players for a like fuck Mary kill, except it's drop hold trade. So we're gonna go through the ones you guys sent me. I got ones from Owen, Kyle, and Chris, and then Matthew and I did ones for our own teams. So
Yes. Or ones for each
let's
other, rather.
yes, one's for each other. So let's talk about Owen first. So Owen sent us Glaber Torres, Cam Smith, and Luis Araz. Now I chose to drop Torres, hold Smith, and trade Arise. Only because I think the real question is whether you want to drop Torres or Arise. I feel like Cam Smith has to go in the hold because of his upside. Um, but Torres, second base is really kind of filled out. It seems like there's a lot of players that are gaining second base eligibility on top of the rookies. So he's actually not nearly as valuable as maybe I thought he was at one point in the season. And Arise just continues to be relatively productive. Just everybody knows who he is, what he is. Very easy player to trade. Whereas Cam Smith, we've got no idea who he is yet.
Yeah,
So
no, well, Davis, I actually ended up agreeing with you on this segment for pretty similar reasons. I mean, honestly, I'll add on to, I guess, the Torres, mini hate train we've got going with between this year and last year, he lost 3 miles an hour of bat speed, and that just really tanks his offensive upside. I mean, I don't think he's going to get any more points than he already is daily. Um,
mhm.
and then with the rise having second base eligibility, kind of makes him a lot less attractive of an option to have on the team since generally first basemen are going to be more productive, easier to fill out from waivers. And Cam Smith, I will say one warning sign on him. He seems to have some kind of launch angle problem, squared up problem. He's not doing a good job of converting that raw power in the bat speed to actually putting the ball out, hit hard in play. So I don't know what's up with that. Um, Something with his swing, which, it's probably going to be streaky, I think, is what that suggests to me.
And especially if it's a swing problem, that's probably not something that's going to get fixed now. He'll probably play the whole season out and then lab it out in the off season if it's like a swing mechanics problem. Because trying to mess with
Yeah.
that in season is just a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, we did see him really go off to start the year, but he's just kind of slowed down a lot, a lot, a lot.
As the Astros offense sort of has more generally as well.
Yeah.
But let's go on. So Kyle sent us three big names. So Owen sent us some
Yes.
back end guys. Kyle sent us big names. So we've got Mike Trout, Freddie Freeman, and Christopher Sanchez. There are a lot of ways you can take this. I think
Yeah. I
Matthew and I
think,
ended up agreeing, but I'll let
I
y'all
think, I
you
think,
open this one up here.
well, I think it needs to be said that just in general, when we say drop, that doesn't mean that you need to drop them to the waivers immediately. That means that we think they're probably the weakest player out of
Yes.
this, because I think for the most part, the players we got sent kind of maybe aren't necessarily worth dropping at all. Like even a guy like Torres might be worth keeping because again, the waiver is just so bad. I mean, if you need him to fill a slot on your team, Owen, then he's worth keeping. But if not, then feel free to drop him, is what that
hmm
means.
Like
But
I think you could drop him for some of the guys that we're going to talk about during our waiver segment.
yeah, that's true.
Quite
Um,
frankly.
yeah, but anyway, back on topic. So yeah, starting off with trade, we went with Trout for that. And I think the reasoning is mostly that Trout has,
Oh, we
I think
disagree,
he's,
Matthew, on this. I think.
oh, we disagree.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Well, I'll lay out my case. I think
hmm
Trout is the prime target for a trade because I think Trout is probably the riskiest player to have rostered out of these three. I think injury is always just going to be a concern with him, and he's doing so great this season that, people are going to want him, even though that is a concern. And uh, really, the main reason that I have him in trade over Sanchez is just because I think that letting go of a pitcher as valuable as Sanchez is really going to hurt you in the long run. I think it might be easier to trade Trout for maybe decent hitter pitcher and get some more of the kind of bad roster filler guys you've got in your lineup out and then another decent pitcher because you guys are kind of lacking pitching is really a big deal. So even if you traded Trout for like two pitchers, two good pitchers, that could also work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I actually said, of course, we both have Freeman in drop, and that's not because Freeman's a bad player. It's just that he's aging, and his stat page still looks great, but he's has the lowest upside and isn't a pitcher.
he's
Um,
yeah, he's also probably the player you're going to get the least satisfactory or least impactful trade package for. So it
yeah,
just doesn't really make sense to shop him as much as either Sanchez or
and
Trout.
first base is pretty deep. It's not as deep as it usually is, but it's still pretty deep. And well, I actually said trade for Sanchez. Now, I think Mike Trout is a hold. And, I've been a Mike Trout believer up until he touched me last year and got injured again. I'm in again. I'm in on Trout. I think we could see something crazy happen. I mean, his stat page looks as good as Trout ever has, aside from some of his MVP years. Uh, so I think the sky's the limit at this point with Trout. Maybe his plate approach won't get back to what it was, but hey, he could hit 45 bombs this year. I think that that's realistic given how good his contract metrics are, and maybe he could even start stealing bases again. But that's kind of a bit of a stretch. Now I think Sanchez is the best trade piece because there are plenty of staffs that have a lot of good pitchers. Will and Kyle's pitching staff has one good pitcher and a couple of okay guys and some bad ones. I think trading Sanchez for maybe two or three pitchers who are good, it will be a real help for them. Um, just team context wise, I understand your point, Matthew, but I think for this specific circumstance, I'd like to see them trade Sanchez. You can't replace Trout, and obviously you can't really replace what Sanchez is doing either. But I feel like churn and burn on the pitcher side of things is a little bit easier to play. You've got matchups, you've got prospects, you've got um, stadiums you can look at. That's much harder to do for hitters in a way that you just sort of can for pitchers. So that's why I would personally put Sanchez up as the trade and Mike Trout as the hold. But let's go
Oh,
ahead and move on. I don't want to run out of time here, Matthew.
yeah,
So
no, we could talk about
um,
that forever. So yeah,
yeah, seriously.
we can move on to what Chris sent. Chris sent in Weiler Abreu, Drake Baldwin, and David Peterson. And I personally went hold on Weiler Abreu, trade on Drake Baldwin, and drop on David Peterson.
Matthew and I
Uh,
agree on this.
yeah, the reasoning for Weiler Abreu is I think like what he's doing, I think we could maybe expect him to do a little bit better, but I think he's more or less pretty stable. His Savant page looks good. Swing decisions look good. I don't think he's going to regress. I think he's going to keep doing what he's doing. And I just don't think that like he's a trade with him. If you're going to make a trade, I kind of feel like it's better almost to do something more bigger that's going to be a bigger swing. And I just think the
Yes.
package for Baldwin is better, especially given that in Chris's case, you've got Adley Rutschman there to fill the catcher slot. So, it's just kind of got a lot more wiggle room
Well, also is hot lately. He looks
there.
like he's turning it around. Um, but yeah, Abreu is one of the more underrated players in our league. I didn't think much of him, but I went and looked at his baseball savant. I mean, he has changed his plate approach in a way that I think is a serious step forward. And I don't think many people realize that. So I don't think much of his value could be recouped in a trade. Whereas Drake Baldwin might be one of I mean, he's doing amazing, but he might be one of the most overrated players in our league, despite being just absolutely phenomenal on the field. But
Yeah.
also addendum about David Peterson. I did a little segment on him in the last podcast, but you don't really want to drop him right now. He is a live arm who can get outs,
Yeah,
but he is worse than both these guys.
He's probably better than the waivers. Not that much better, at least right now,
Mhm.
but better.
Speaking of the waivers, let's move on to our waiver and prospect segment. So Matthew picked some hitters, I picked some pitchers, and one
Yeah.
hitter. And let's just dive into it. The first prospect I think that everybody should be aware of is last year's number one overall pick, Cade Anderson. He is a right-handed pitcher for the Seattle Mariners, and he threw a no-hitter in college and was drafted number one overall. This guy has a .60 ERA in 6 games in Double A already. I mean, if something happens in the Mariners rotation, like let's say Bryce Miller gets hurt again, Emerson Hancock starts sucking, or God forbid one of the other guys gets hurt, we could see him really quickly.
Yeah, for sure. I can talk about a hitter now. I'll start off with my prospect actually that I picked that I wanted to talk about. And hailing from UGA, Charlie Condon is in AAA for the Rockies. And Charlie Condon is interesting because he's really got a big strikeout problem. Big strikeout problem. That's kind of going to be the thing with him. But he does have some upside as far as prospects go for he could really be promoted at any time, I think. The Rockies, pretty bad team, so they kind of have the flexibility to just promote whoever they want whenever they want, pretty much. And I think Condon is making a good case. He doesn't exactly have the greatest slug in the minors right now. He was really mashing to start the year. Seems like he's cooled off a bit, but I think if he gets hot again, then we could see him in the leagues, in as little as like another month or few weeks or so. And playing time probably won't be a concern for him. He might get platooned, but I feel like the Rockies typically don't do that as much. So, he's got huge power upside. If he comes up and he's right, then he could really maybe hit, I don't know, 20, 30 home runs the rest of the way
Yeah,
if he gets called up in
absolutely.
about a month.
I totally agree with that. Like 30 home runs for Charlie Condon if he comes up at like 1st of June, end of May, that's totally possible, especially in cores. But that
Hmm.
strikeout problem, like he's Spencer Jones, and he plays for the
Yeah,
Rockies basically.
yeah.
So even scarier. But yeah, I'll go on to my hitter prospect here. Ryan Waldschmidt just got the call last week for as an outfielder for the D-backs. And just over a season's worth of games, 162 games in the minors, he slashed a 288 average with an 884 OPS. The real kicker here, though, 421 on base percentage. His K rate and walk rate are very close together, 21% K rate, 18% walk rate. I mean, if something screams useful points league player more than that, I'm not sure. He hit 21 home runs in those, so not a ton of pop. He's more of a slap Kevin McGonigal-ish type guy with maybe a tiny bit more pop, but definitely a useful player if he can get rolling. And I know there's already tons of rookies, but just to keep a guy to keep an eye on if you need outfield help.
Yeah,
Plus,
for
he
sure.
plays in Arizona, which is a nice hitting environment.
Yeah, Arizona hitters are nice. Hopefully he won't be like Jordan Lawler.
Yeah, let's pray. Let's pray not
Yeah.
that.
Right. Well, I'll move on to my next hitter, and it's actually Nathaniel Lowe, who is now on the Cincinnati Reds. Nathaniel Lowe has just been, he's kind of started to get hot recently, though in the past few games he's been a little bit cold. But if you look at his Savant page, it's actually very red, particularly with the 100th percentile sweet spot percentage. So he is just absolutely barreling up the ball. He did have a
Great at
little
the
bit of
ball
a bat
skills.
speed increase from last year, about another 1.3 miles per hour added, which is always nice to see. Decent plate approach. And, I just think that he's going to be a valuable pickup for anybody looking for a first baseman. I believe, does he also have outfield eligibility?
I don't
I
think
believe
so. I think he's only first base.
only first base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, DH eligibility is the other one that he
DH.
has. But yeah, I think Nathaniel Lowe, I mean, he's got an 876 OPS right now, 543 slug with a 523 X slug. I think he can be a great pickup for anybody looking to fill either DH or first base, which maybe some of
Yeah.
you are after our drop hold trade segment there.
Yeah, for sure. My last guy that I picked is a reliever eligible player, although he's a lot more than that. Graham Ashcraft. This guy is the jack of all trades reliever for the Reds right now, and he could be honestly he could be in the closer role if things go bad for Tony Santillan, who I think is filling that role right now with Pagan down. Um, but like again, he's a ground ball pitcher in American Family Field, or I mean, in the Great American Ballpark, which I really like. Right, Andrew Abbott has always scared people because he's a fly ball pitcher in the smallest ballpark aside from Yankee Stadium. And Graham Ashcraft is the opposite. He gets tons of ground balls, even gets some whiffs and Ks. But right now they're using him as a reliever in a multi-inning role or in like the eighth inning. It's weird. Terry Francona, I just have no idea what he's doing. But Graham Ashcraft's getting points, and that's really what matters. So if you're looking to fill a relief pitcher spot, or even just throw him in your SP spot, hope he gets a point here or there, I definitely think he deserves to be rostered.
Yeah. I mean, any pitcher getting points is going to be valuable here,
Well,
especially
I
with the
was. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Matt. I
state.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. I was just saying Pitching's valuable with the state of the wire, of course.
Yeah, the pitching wire is rough, man. Um,
Yeah.
really, the worst it's looked all year. But let's go. We've got 7, 8 minutes here. I was worried we weren't going to get to it, but let's do a little bonus segment, Matthew, about our own drop hold trades
Yeah. All
that
right.
we did for ourselves. So I'm going
Uh,
to go first.
yeah, go for
So I picked out Blade, Colson Montgomery, and Austin Riley.
it. Okay, that's fun. That's fun.
So I want to hear your opinion first before I give what I answered.
I mean, I think like out of those three, probably Austin Riley or Colson Montgomery is going to be the drop. Um,
Hmm.
I would say Blade would be trade, but like I feel like it's too soon to trade him because nobody trusts him. So he's probably the hold. And I guess I could see Colson Montgomery being the trade, but I don't really think I could get anything for him. But I don't know.
No,
What
Matthew,
how
we
close was I?
totally disagree. We totally disagree on this. I am not a Blade believer. Like the bat speed is sure, but we have 2 years of him just being a guy. I need to see more before I decide that I want to keep him on my roster longer. I put Riley down as a hold. I think Montgomery or Riley could be a hold or a trade. I think I would prefer to hold Riley. He just, he's looked a little bit better than how he normally has been the past couple of years. Still not amazing. Still horrible plate approach problems.
I mean, he's
Um,
hitting the ball harder, but it's just not translating.
I mean, the thing with him is just contact. That's always been his problem, and it still is right now. But hopefully, he can turn it around. That's why I would also, but don't want to trade him really. So like, you could also put him as your drop, but man, does it feel bad dropping a guy who hit 30 plus home runs 2 years in a row. Um,
Yeah,
so I
definitely.
put Montgomery for the trade. I feel like Colson Montgomery, especially with all the home runs he's hitting, is at a position that on the back end is really weak. I feel like for what you paid for him, aka dropping some random guy to the waiver wire, you could totally exceed, like just totally get a value for him for honestly from like my team who is running Bo Bichette at shortstop right now.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, for me, the Colson Montgomery is kind of filling in the hole that Zach Neto left when he forgot how to hit. So I don't
Yeah,
know. We'll see about that, though. Definitely
it
interesting.
it surprised me to see how bad shortstop was. Looking at the
Yeah,
waiver
it was
wire.
so good last year.
Well, thanks a
All right.
lot, Matthew. That was really fun. Hope
Let
you
me,
guys
do
enjoyed
we
the
have
podcast.
time for me to try to go through
Oh,
mine?
yeah. I forgot. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. Don't just hold out on me here, man. You
No,
gotta
we
let
got five
me.
minutes, man. We got
Yeah,
plenty of
yeah.
time. Shoot.
Okay, great. Yeah, so from your team, I picked Sal Stewart, Jack Caglione, and Bo Bichette.
Ooh.
And so
Oh.
I'll start off with exciting. Well, I guess I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think I put for each category?
Eggs, Bichette, and Stewart. Um, I think, God, if you'd asked me this 2 weeks ago, I think it would have been a lot easier. Um, I think Stewart is the trade. I think
Okay.
Cags is the hold, and I think Bichette is the drop.
Okay, you're close. I have
Cags and Stewart switch.
Cags and Bichette switch.
Oh, fascinating.
So yeah, Sal Stewart, obviously the reason he's traded is because I think he's pretty much hit the peak of what he's capable of.
Hmm.
I'm not necessarily saying I think he's going to regress or anything like that, but I don't think he's going to do much better than he is currently. And so if you were going to trade anyone, I think he's the guy to trade because I don't think that's the case for Bichette or Caglian.
I agree. They're both underperforming really hard.
Yeah, I mean, my
Um,
thing with Caglione, though, why he's drop and why Bichette isn't, is that Caglione really has a launch angle problem right now. He is hitting the ball really flat, and that is really hurting his ability to do damage offensively. He does have a good savant page. I like how it looks, but if you're not lifting the ball, it's kind of called, and you're a rookie, it's like, can he really adjust and fix this season? Like, I don't necessarily know, you know? And then
yeah,
obviously with him, there's going to be the strikeouts. And then I have Bichette on hold because if you look at his Savant page compared to last year, it's actually practically identical. And it's really just that like his sweet spot, X slug and X woba have fallen. And I kind of think what's happened there was that at the start of this season, I think he was really, really pressing his at bats and just taking some really, really bad at bats. And he's kind of started to do better recently. Seems a bit more chilled out at the plate. And, even though the Mets are struggling, I think Bichette is going to kind of turn it around and be one of the better hitters on that team. I would trust him
Hmm.
a lot more to be able to kind of turn things around because it's not like the balls he's putting in play are looking all that different from last year. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
So
I like his ability to turn things around more than Caglione, I think, in a season.
I understand your point, Matthew, but I'm going to make a little bit of a counter argument here. So I think Cags' upside is 1,000% better than Bichette's is. Um,
I don't think it's 1,000% better. I think because
I,
I'm remembering Bichette last year as a 3.2 point per game player, and I don't think we're going to see Caglione break much higher than that this year, even if he does
right.
great.
But I'm just saying, imagine both players in their best form. I think Bo Bichette is a 3.3, 3.4 point a game player at his best, right? But I mean, Cags could be better than Kyle Schwarber if he was pulling ball in the air all the time.
Could
Just
be.
because
He could be, but
um,
that's a lot to ask
it
a rookie
is.
to fix a launch angle problem.
No, I totally agree with you. I'm gonna have some hard decisions to make with Cags.
Yeah, I mean, it
Like
just really
now,
hurts to drop him because he has upside a lot and a lot of it, and
and
dropping
it's
him for nothing
obvious.
kind of feels like it sucks. But
It's obvious upside too.
yeah,
All you've got to do is look at the Savant page and see how much red there is. But yeah, we got a minute and a half left here, so we filled the 40 minutes, Matthew. Good job, us.
yeah.
Um,
I feel like there were just a kind of a lot of segments, a lot to talk about.
yeah, there was plenty to talk about. I had a lot of fun designing it. I wish I could have had more time to put some more research in and flesh some of these things out, but
Well,
um,
maybe it's best that we didn't, because then we'd definitely be going over.
yeah, for sure. No script, but hey, thanks for listening, guys. If you are, and good luck next week. We'll see you then.
Yeah. Good luck,
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Bye.